Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This morning, the Secretary General addressed a session of the Security Council on conflict prevention and mediation. He urged all member states to strive for greater unity to ensure that prevention and mediation efforts are as effective as possible. When we act early and are united, we can successfully prevent crises from escalating, saving lives, and reducing suffering, he told members of the Council. The Secretary General pointed out how efforts are leading to encouraging developments in countries such as Madagascar, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and South Sudan. But he also emphasized the enormous obstacles to peace that remain around the world and how ultimately civilians pay the price. We cannot afford to reduce the energy and resources we invest in prevention and mediation, he concluded. This afternoon, the Security Council is expected to meet on Mali. The Special Representative of the Secretary General and head of the UN Peacekeeping Mission in Mali, Mohamed Salah Anadif, will brief the Council. And yesterday, the Secretary General spoke by phone to the President of Mali, Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, and offered his deepest condolences to the people and government of Mali following the tragic attack that took place in the village of Subanuku. The Secretary General reiterated the UN's engagement to support the authorities in their search for solutions to intercommunal tensions in the country. We are deeply concerned over the missile attack on the Aba civilian airport in southern Saudi Arabia. We urge all parties to prevent any such further incidents, which risk escalating the current situation, pose a serious threat to the national and regional security, and undermine the UN-led political process. We echo the recent Security Council statement calling on all parties to ensure the protection of civilians and critical civilian infrastructure in accordance with international humanitarian law. We urge both parties to exert more efforts to re-engage in the political process to end the conflict through an inclusive intra-Yemeni dialogue. Close to 70,000 people across Yemen, including internally displaced people, have been affected by torrential rain and flash flooding in recent weeks, culminating in widespread flooding in the second week of June. Hacha is the most affected governorate, where over 8,000 families, or almost 48,000 people, have reportedly been affected. There are concerns that flash flooding could escalate the spread of cholera across the country. Yemen is already experiencing a rise in cholera cases, with 364,000 suspected cases reported since the beginning of this year. The UN and humanitarian partners are conducting assessments and scaling up humanitarian response, despite access constraints in many of the affected areas. Preliminary information indicates that critical immediate needs are shelter, food, non-food items, and cash assistance. We have been asked a few times about UN participation in the workshop being held in Bahrain on the 25th and 26th of June. As it stands, I understand that UNSCO Deputy Special Coordinator, Humanitarian Coordinator, and Resident Coordinator Jamie McGoldrick will be representing the United Nations at the event. Today marks the 5th anniversary of the murder by Daesh of at least 1,500 unarmed Iraq Air Force cadets outside Tikrit Air Academy, formerly known as Camp Speicher. In a statement, the head of the UN investigative team to promote accountability for crimes committed by Daesh, Karim Asad Ahmad Khan, remembered the lives of those killed in that massacre, as well as many members of the Christian, Yazidi, Sunni, Shia, Turkmen, Kakai, and all other communities targeted by Daesh. Mr. Khan said that the UN is deploying its technical, legal, and investigative resources pursuant to Security Council Resolution 2379 of 2017, so that accountability is delivered for Daesh crimes which may amount to war crimes, crimes against humanity, or genocide. Wrapping up a week-long visit to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Malawi, the Deputy Emergency Relief Coordinator Ursula Muller today called on the world to address the challenges and risks posed by extreme weather events and climate change in the wake of tropical Cyclone Idai. Ms. Muller said that while the impact of Cyclone Idai was different in the three countries, the disaster gives us a clear picture of how the effects of climate change are increasing the humanitarian needs of people who are already extremely vulnerable. She stressed that the climate crisis is hurting most those who have done the least to create it. More than 1 in 5 people living in conflict zones suffer from mental health disorders, according to a study released today by the World Health Organization and published by The Lancet. The new estimates indicate that more people than previously thought experience mental disorders, ranging from mild depression and post-traumatic stress disorder to severe mental illnesses. As a result, WHO is calling for additional investment to increase the availability of mental health services in conflict-affected areas. The study is available on WHO's website. And today is the World Day Against Child Labor. This year's theme is Children Shouldn't Work in Fields, but on Dreams. Today, 152 million children are involved in child labor. Although child labor occurs in almost every sector, 7 out of every 10 of those children works in agriculture. To mark the day, the International Labor Organization has released a report with a series of recommendations to end child labor by 2025, and you can find the report on ILO's website. And after I'm done, you'll hear from Monica Villela-Grely, and then today at 12:45, there will be a press briefing by Naveed Hanif, Director of the Financing for Sustainable Development Office in the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, and he will brief you on the launch of the World Investment Report 2019. That's it for me. Are there any questions? Yes, please.
Farhan, it's been reported that members of the international community might be meeting tomorrow in Sweden with representatives of Turkey, China, Lima Group, and other international partners, including Cuba, to talk about the future of Venezuela and the possibility of elections in the near future, and that the Norway government might be present to be able to talk about those possibilities, as has been said, that the elections will be before the end of the year as the conversations advance. Is the United Nations in any way part of this talks? Will have somebody there to follow the progress? Today, the Secretary General mentioned that you have been following the Norway talks, and then he offered again the offices of good services.
Yes, I'm aware of the Secretary General's remarks, so I'd refer you to what he said in the Security Council about that. I'm not aware of any UN representation in the talks tomorrow, but I'll let you know if that changes. Yes.
Farhan, concerning former Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, he addressed the council this morning, and I'm wondering what bilaterals he may have this afternoon here at headquarters, probably in his capacity in the elders group, because I know he's been very busy in New York City, and I'm wondering if he's touching base with anybody else here.
Yeah, ironically, after many years of knowing exactly what his daily schedule would be, I don't have any particular way of knowing about his program while he's in New York this time around. So you could contact the elders. I believe they have a spokesperson who's with the group. And with that, I wish you a good afternoon. Oh, yeah, one more?
The United Nations Refugee Agency gave numbers last week about the 4 million Venezuelans. The Foreign Minister of Venezuela, Mr. Arreaza, has been very outspoken about it and has said that these numbers are a lie and that they are a media campaign to give fake information about or to discredit the government of Nicolas Maduro. Is the United Nations and the Secretary General has any response to this type of accusations?
The UN Refugee Agency stands by the numbers. We're not trying in any way to create any particular climate regarding the issues of Venezuela. What we're trying to do is tend to all of the needs of the people who are fleeing one way or another across borders. Thank you very much.